Okay, y'all. So I got a major download. I've been getting it for the past few weeks. It's simple. The gods have awoken. They are now fully aware of who they are and what they have come here to do. And they are right now getting their powers fully aligned and, you know, about to about to start some stuff, right? Everyone didn't awaken at the same time. There were those who awoken well before the others, and they kind of like helped the others to finally see who they are. Okay, so when I say gods, don't think of it in the sense of how we've been taught, or even like a human type of sense of it. It's truly like a Hercules type of energy in which he always was, but he's in human form. So you think that you're just like everybody else because you look like everybody else, but you're not. You actually have powers, or what others would look at and go, you're a magician, you're an alchemist, you're working with magic. And in reality, it's something that we all have access to and we all can do. It's just these particular individuals have been here, their old souls, they've been here and have had so many past lives working on this and ascending until finally they have reached Christ consciousness, which is a God like essence, or it would appear like a God like essence to others, everyone around. It's the Jesus effect, right? Jesus was an ascended master, just like Buddha, just like Krishna, a whole bunch of other um, humans, real people who walk the earth, right? But they they have ancient wisdom and knowledge, and because they had this, they were able to use it and show others, hey, you can do it too. Even Jesus said it, or it's written um in the Bible of Jesus saying to the disciples and saying to the people, you will be able to do everything I did and greater. Why no one talks about that is amazing to me, because he literally said you can do it too. You can walk on water, you can heal people with your hands, or just by them touching a hem of your garment, they will be healed. You will be able to show people the way. You can come back, right? You can come back from the dead, Osiris. um so there's this information that's coming through. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I have to get it out. It's driving me insane. And in a good way. I'm so hyped up and excited for what's to come, y'all. So when we're thinking about old souls or the gods, you have to think about it in the sense that they are simply ascended masters. They are old souls. They've been here, they've mastered everything they needed to master, and they've went to the highest plane. What is the highest plane? For us, we named it Christ consciousness, but really it's just meeting source. It's finally being reunited with source, because we all come from source, right? And then we go through this whole cycling, right, until we go back to source. It's a cycle, it's a circle. And so that's what Jesus and a whole bunch of other ascended masters did, was just simply ascend so high that you go back to source. And then after that, what do? Well, you have choices. You are boundless. You can, your soul can go anywhere, right? That's why the Bible, it speaks of Jesus going and preaching to the masses, everyone around the world, and appearing to everyone around the world, and then appearing and taking the keys to the gates of hell and going down there and preaching to the lost souls to help them to ascend, right? Because they're not supposed to just stay down there. You're supposed to ascend upwards, right? um and so that's what he was doing. This is showing us what we all have the capability of doing. If you ascend high enough, you can be boundless and you can go to the different realms and do that and help souls ascend out of those deep, dark places that we call hell, or we call the underworld, or we call whatever you want to call it. So I wrote down, the ancient ones appear as gods because they have tapped into source directly, and they have free reign, or they are boundless. They have free reign to go as they please, to go wherever they want. And so a lot of them have come back to the material plane, which is Earth, where humans and the physical, right, is here. This is the stomping grounds, or basically the testing grounds, in which all souls have the ability to test out of this realm, right? So that you can ascend, and you have to continue coming back here until you get to where your soul is wanting you to go, which is back to source, right? To ascend that high, so that you can have free reign to do what you want to do. So that's the reincarnation energy right there. We reincarnate in order to ascend, to have those chances to prove that we deserve this ascension. Okay. We don't just get it just to get it. You got to work for it. Your soul works for it every time you come here. All right, give me a second as I try to make sure I'm on point. So that's basically what I mean when I'm saying that the heroes have awakened. They are woke now. They're up. They are fully aware of who they are. Is because, it's the Matrix scene when you have the birth, the actual birth into this realm, this earthly realm, this material plane. You forget. And it's done like that for a reason, because you need to be able to go through the process of remembering again. And some people do it very quickly, and while others, it's a long, drawn out process. Okay, so the ascended masters are here again. They have reincarnated. They are here. They've been walking with us for a while now, and not just the ascended masters, but premortal ones have also reincarnated because of this particular time in earth plane history. What is meant to happen is a huge wave, and this wave is a conscious wave in which a lot of souls are going to be ascending, right? What has happened is the lower realms is too heavy. It's too many souls down there. They've been trapped because they're not ascending. They're not, going higher. And so these ascended masters are all coming back. This is nothing new. Ascended masters always reincarnate, right? They always do this. But as many that are coming back now that have incarnated right now, there's hell of them. There's hell of them. And this is not normal. Why? It's because the bottom portion, the bottom planes, is too heavy. There's way too many souls who are trapped on the bottom planes. And so the Bible talks about this, but people get too stuck on the religious aspects of it that they miss the actual messaging. And this message is in all indigenous ancient writings and works. They have all talked about this particular time period that we are in now, in which all of the ascended ones have come and reincarnated at the same time, because this is major work that we all have to do. Okay, everybody's not on the same level, and that's for a purpose, because not everybody can reach certain people at certain levels. You need people who can talk to people where they're at. And so that's why we have so many ascended masters coming in at the same time. If we get into the astrology of it, you can look and you can actually see where or when they were all to be born. And we're at the last throw of it right now with Neptune and Pisces. I'm going to get into that into the next video, part 2. I'm talking about the astrology to see who are the ascended masters. Okay, so back part 2, I guess. The gods have returned. They are all reincarnated. They are all back. And not just the ascended masters, we're talking about the primordial ones as well. So this is intense and this is very important. And only certain groups of people are actually going to really get what the hell I'm talking about. And that's fine. It's okay. If I say fractal universe and you go, what? Don't worry. That's okay. Take some time and read a book about it. It'll be somewhere in some physics book somewhere. Just think of it as in the snowflakes, right? All the snowflakes have a pattern to them, and it's the same pattern just spread out and continue, what have you. Or even think of it like a tree, right? If you look at the tree, the spirals that are within the trunk of the tree, that pattern also exists within the branches. And then you'll see the same patterning out from the branches on into the leaves. Like it has the same pattern, just, either tiny or big, depending on what part of the tree you're looking at. It's the same thing. It's a code that's in there, and it's in with all beings, creatures, and shit. Okay, so that's pretty much the fractal universe, right? Or think of it as Doctor Strange. Remember that scene when he's like going through, he's having his like awakening, and he's going and seeing all these different patterns, but they're the same patterns. They're just going in or coming out or whatever. That's the fractal universe. All right, so within the fractal universe we have dimensions. Stay with me, okay? There are 9 main dimensions. There's hella dimensions, but there's only 9 main ones, okay? The main ones, 9, okay? Within those dimensions, there's differences, and you'll be able to detect the differences as you can go through those dimensions. Now, if you have not ascended past the 3rd dimension, okay, which is this earth plane, if you have not ascended past that, you won't check out the other scenes, right? Those won't be available to you because you have not unlocked the gates to those dimensions quite yet. But you can. For the ascended masters, they already have. They've already unlocked all the gates, and they went on and ascended up. They met source, and now they have free reign. They're boundless. They can go through the dimensions at will. Okay, stay with me. So for the souls that have not passed the earthly dimension or the 3rd dimension, they can go to the bottom dimensions very easily. They do have access to those dimensions. That's how you have nightmares. Okay, when you are dreaming, you're not dreaming in the sense of just how science explains dreams. You are going into other realms, depending on the level of your soul, ascended. Okay, so if you only having bad dreams or dreams in black and white, or grayscale, those types of dreams, that means you need to do some work, baby, so you can ascend and have more colorful dreams, right? More vibrant dreams. That means you're going to the higher realms. Your soul is. Your body is still here on earth, right? So that's why it's important to get your rest. Gotta get your rest. I'm sorry, I just saw the sunlight just peek through, and y'all be acting like y'all can't just listen. Y'all have to look. Okay, here we go. Anyways, you have to get your rest, because during those times, your soul is doing work. It's doing work, okay, or it should be. If you really are trying to tap in and you're doing the work on earth in your 3rd dimension in this body, you're doing the work when you're awake, then your soul will be doing some work when you're asleep, okay? And you will see it. You will there'll be evidence of this work being done and you going to the other dimensions. Okay, so time, Jasmine. All right, so with that being said, there's people who've called the ascended masters wanderers, because they can wander through the dimensions. I might say that word just so you know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about ascended masters, okay? And there are more than just the ones we are familiar with, or the most famous ones, which would be like the Jesus, the Buddha. Those are the more famous ones. There are hell of them. How do we know? Because come on now, the soul didn't just have just 4 energies, that ascended. Come on now. There were more that ascended, okay? But they have different powers, for the lack of a better word. But before we get to that, just so you understand the balancing, universe works in balancing, okay? When we think about creator energy or source energy, does not care about your feelings, does not care about how your opinions and shit. None of that shit matters, okay? So when you think about, oh, the evil of the world, the evil will always exist. Quote, quote, evil, bad things, it's all how you look at it. It will always exist. It has to, in order to continue to keep the balance of the universe. If it's too much good, you won't know what is good because you've never experienced bad. That's the balancing that works out. And so with that, the free will that comes in is the choice that you have when you are on this third dimension. Your choice is only of 2 choices. And that's your free will, to choose between the 2. Now, some might say, well, that's not really free will because I should be able to do whatever I want. Well, technically, you are doing whatever you want when you choose between the 2. And the 2 choices is the red path or the blue path. Okay, I know red pill, blue pill is a reason why they chose those colors. If you really want to be rudimentary with it, you can think of it as black and white. Choose a path. Either way, both paths lead and end up at the same point, right? It's a circle, okay? So if you start at one point at the top of the circle and you say, I'm going to go left, and the other person says, I'm going to go right, no matter which path you go, it all leads to the same point. Source, okay? When you mix blue with red, what color do you get? You get purple. Oh, there's a reason why purple is used to signify divinity and royalty and high mental status. It goes beyond what the third eye chakra, right, which is indigo-ish color, and it hits to the crown chakra, which people say it's white, but it's not. It's ultraviolet. It's purple, okay? And then the end of that spectrum is light, because that's when all the colors aren't absorbed. That's black. All the colors are reflected, right? Because you are light, right? So, and what is light? It's okay, we're not going to go into all that. Think prism with the light color going through, and you see what? Rainbow. Okay, think about the prism, right? So I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, so you have to choose between those 2 paths, and no matter what, it all leads to the same end result, which is source. So we don't judge people who choose a path that is different from what we choose, right? I chose the lighter path, right? I've already did the whole other side. My soul did that already. It did. I accomplished that. I'm on the other side now. I'm experiencing that portion of the path, knowing that it's going to lead to the same end. So no matter what, we're all good, no matter what, right? But we have to accept the fact that both energies have to exist, and there has to be a balance. When there's a balance, they exist perfectly. When there's an imbalance, it's too much of the darkness, not enough light, what happens? We look at the world, right? It's an imbalance. So that's why the Ascended Masters are coming back, to bring back balance, right? That's the only reason why they're all coming in such a drove of Ascended Masters being reincarnated at the same time, is because the imbalance is so great. And there's not enough light energy. It's not enough light being modeled to the other souls who are choosing paths, right? So because that's not enough light being modeled to them, they're choosing one path. Everybody's choosing the same path, and it's imbalanced. So That's why we see people saying no more listening to a certain type of music, no more doing a certain type of thing. Okay, so now let's get into some Kemetic knowledge so that you can fully grasp this whole concept of the God's return. So, I've already talked about the 9 dimensions, not in great detail, but just so that you can be aware of them. Within those 9 dimensions, they are separated into 3 main parts. And the 3 main parts is the what some refer to as the causal plane, and then there's the material plane, and then there's the astral plane. They're not in that order. They really don't have an order. It's just planes that exist within all 9 dimensions, but you have to be aware of those planes so that you can fully work within those planes and function within the laws of those planes. Okay, just follow me up. So, right now we exist on the material plane, right? Material, physical, tangible plane. The causal plane is where the creator, source, and all that existed before existence, um, that it's the primordial waters. Now, I will explain all these terms event soon, okay? But just know that the causal is where source is at. The material is where we are right now, tangible, physical, all that stuff. The astral is where, more spirit is formed. It's more kind of like the imagination, like you can't touch it, it's not tangible, but it is existing. It's almost like a hologram, like holographic in feel. It's the best way I can explain what the astral realm is, but you can go there easily. The causal plane, though, is not so easy to get to, but we'll get there. Okay, so now we get into the Kemetic ancient wisdom that has been passed down for millennia. And some people have kind of misconstrued it, and that's okay. The ancient ones are here to correct and to help people get on the right path. With that being said, according to the Kemetic origin stories, remember, these origin stories can be found and have profound similarity throughout all indigenous ancient cultures. So if you're reading from the Mayans, from the Aztecs, from the Sumerians, the people of Kemet, it doesn't matter. All of them have pretty much the same origin story. It's just how they depicted it is truly based upon their region and their cultures and what have you. But it all says the same thing. The cosmic egg, the mound, or whatever, how they describe it, it all says the same thing. So I'm only using the Kemetic one because I'm more familiar with that one and it's easier for me to explain. With that being said, they start out with the primal waters, right? The primordial waters, the Nun, right? Is what it's called, Nun, right? So we have these waters, the cosmic waters, the primordial waters, and out of these waters came out a mound, right? Ptah. It came out of this mound, and right as this mound was emerging from the cosmic waters, Atum sat on top of Ptah. And these two energies merged, and they call it the demiurge, according to Greek, how they interpreted what they were reading or being taught from the mystery schools that existed in Kemet. They called it the demiurge, and it's basically when the creator became conscious of self. And once the creator became conscious of self, it decided, I want to create, right? What else would it do? So it began to create. So they called it, the Kemetic people, or people of Kemet, called it the Ptah, a Ptah, and then Atum, Atum, or Aten, whatever. It gets deeper. We ain't gonna get into all that. So you have that in energy. And from Atum decided, I want to continue creating, right? So it projected from itself okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So with Atum, Ptah, the connection of both, the creation with the voice, the sound, the words that created, okay? What is that familiar to? Genesis, when God spoke and things became, right? So anyways, there were beings that existed with the creator, existed at the same time of the creator, and came into alignment with the creator energy. What were those entities? It was 4 of them, and they were what many ancient works would describe as the primordial beings. Okay, they existed with the creator at the ounce of creation. According to Kemetic tradition, those 4 beings that became 8, right? Because they split into 2. Those 4 beings was Noon, the primeval waters, the primordial waters, Huk, the boundlessness, so the expansion, right? Kuk, the darkness, the expansion, the darkness that exists within the expansion, and then Amun, which is the hidden. And so those 4 beings that existed with the creator, with Ptah and Atum, the primordial ones, split themselves into 2, because that creates the balance, right? That creates, it goes from a square, right, which is flat, it's 2D or 1D or whatever the fuck. It goes from a square, 1, 2, 3, 4, and to a cube, a 3D dimension. They started creating dimensions, y'all. All right, so these 4 entities created that cube, that dimension, from these energies that they each possessed. Okay, so Noon split itself into Nunet, 1, 2. Hooks split itself into Huhet, 1, 2. Cook into Kukhet, and Amun into Amunet. So they started creating, right? And so from that source energy, right, that empowered these 4 other things to start doing shit with itself. Anyways, from that source energy, Atum, the source, the creator of the Okdud, as it existed within the Okdud, is crazy. I'm sorry, just follow with me. From source, it created the Inan. The Inan was the gods of order, basically. These were the first creatures or creations that existed upon the dimension, the 3rd dimension, Earth. So what were the creatures? What were the creations? What were the, quote, gods that were created, that were taken from pieces or projections of source, Atum? We have Shu, which is air, Tufnut, which is moisture, Geb, which is earth, or the ground, the earth, Set, which is what we would consider evil, but it's not. We'll get into that. Nut, which is the sky, very famous one. Everybody knows about Nut and her image. Osiris, which his name was actually Osar. Isis, which her name is actually Oset. And Nephthys, she has her own name too, but whatever. She represents the unseen world, right? So these were created, and from these, a whole bunch of more were created. It just, more and more and more projections in little pieces. Remember what I talked about, fractal universe, right? So you have the main image, and then if you go in deeper and deeper, you see the same image, but these little images of itself is creating the image of itself. Go study fractal universes, and then you'll see where I'm getting with this, okay? Source just multiplied itself, okay? We are pieces of source, but there were pieces that existed from the beginning of source, and they are reincarnated right now back on the earth for a purpose. Are y'all following me? It's getting deep, y'all. I need more time. Damn, I need some more time.